Good afternoon, everyone. This is my speech about rainfall forecasting for improved water resources management in Sudan. My name is Yasir Mohamed. I am the Minister of Irrigation and Water Resources of Sudan. Last month, in fact also August and September, we had severe flooding in Sudan, both river flooding from the Nile and also flash flooding from local rainfalls. More than 100 people died, 40,000 homes totally collapsed, 60,000 homes partially collapsed, more than 40,000 hectares of agricultural lands has been affected, and about 6,000 of livestock died. And more seriously, after the floods, there is, in fact, because it is ongoing nowadays, the outbreak of waterborne diseases. The least is malaria. We even have now the Rift Valley fever. This photo is in Khartoum, very touchy photo because it is on Tuti Island. Those young men, they were trying to stop the water entering their towns. In fact, they hold their hands together to stop the water, waiting for other young men bringing sacks full of earth, because if you put the sack, it will be washed out immediately by the water. So they have to stand first or sit first firmly, and then they put the sack full of sand, and after the sand is stable, they move to another place. In this way, they saved their town or their village in where the Blue Nile meets the White Nile at Khartoum. It's called Tuti Island. Very brave. After the floods, in fact, nowadays is also big problem, because you see on the right, this is a citrus tree, orange tree, in fact, sent to me through WhatsApp by my sister living in North Sudan, that some of their trees has died because of the flooding. While you see those people, sick people, the hospital is full inside, and those people lying in beds because of this strange fever they have in North Sudan along the River Nile, and they didn't know it in the past. The doctor said it is Rift Valley fever. We knew it in central Sudan, southern part of Sudan, but it was never in north part of Sudan. So this is really, this photo I think last week or so, many hospitals are full of, and many people died. And this was also the danger of the flood, but after the flood recessed. In fact, in the Sahelian Sudan, which is from Ethiopia, Sudan until West Africa, Senegal, this very fragile region of 200 to 400 millimeter rainfall, we also have severe droughts. In fact, floods and droughts are becoming more frequent nowadays, especially those nomad people move from north to south. They have this seasonal movement, and they were hit hard by drought, also hit hard by floods. And in fact, sometimes it causes conflict. Some people claim that the conflict in Darfur is caused by this competition over water resources. So the frequency of droughts and floods are becoming more in recent years. This is through measurements and through how it affected the people. Therefore, it's very important to do rainfall forecasting, both short-term forecasting, but also equally important is long-term seasonal forecasting, because it is used for agriculture, rain-fed agriculture. We have this mechanized rain-fed system in huge areas, also small-scale rain-fed farms, but also for the livestock, as I mentioned, moving from north to south. Equally important for irrigated agriculture, for this water is stored in reservoirs. Hydropower generation, electricity, it's very important. For example, before the next flood season, you know how much water is coming, because if you need more thermal power generation, then you get prepared. So forecasting is really crucial for improved water management. It is also very important for transboundary water management, and what we see here is a photo of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, and maybe you all know about the ongoing negotiations now, how many years it takes to fill, how will be the annual operation, and that according to the criteria given in the agreement. If it is dry year, then to store less. If it is wet year, to store more. But how do you know it is wet or dry years before the season? So in that, seasonal forecasting is very important. What we see on the other photo is the High Aswan Dam in Egypt. This is multi-year storage. This year they are lucky, it's full of water because of the high floods. But because it's multi-year storage, they need also long-term kind of forecast to do better water resources planning. In fact, this year we use here in Sudan this simple way of correlating the sea surface temperature in the Pacific Ocean with the flow of the Nile River. Here you see the flow of the Blue Nile River. You see this is scatter plot on the right, and what you see in the left is the prediction of the sea surface temperature. This was in June, and the report we received in June is that they are telling us that the Blue Nile and Atbara rivers are likely to be above average during the period June, July, August, September, which is true. In fact, it was far, far above average. In the Blue Nile, it could be the highest in the record of 100 years. So forecasting is very important. Even this information above average, average, below average is also very useful for us. So my final remark is that climate change and climate variability hits hard the fragile societies in the Sahelian Sudan through devastating floods and also severe droughts, which are becoming more frequent now. Rainfall forecast is indispensable for water resources management, both for floods and drought, and therefore for food and energy production. Linking science to policy making is crucial to make the change in the South. In fact, this is from my experience of being 1 year in office now as a minister. Before that, I used to work as a researcher. But this is really important, is that the research should inform policy making in these developing countries or in the South. And for that, capacity building of the South, all levels for research, linking research to policy making, also for policymakers, is very important to make impacts. And this is my last photo. I wanted to share with you our famous revolution, December Revolution 2018, freedom, peace, and justice. And thank you very much.